A lady worked at a meat distribution factory. As part of her job, she needs to bring meat to a cold room. One day, while she was inside the cold room, the door accidentally closed, and she was locked inside. Although she screamed and knocked with all her might, her cries went unheard as no one could hear her. Most of the workers had already gone, and outside the cold room it's impossible to hear what was going on inside. While she was at the verge of death, the security guard of the factory eventually opened the door. She was miraculously saved from dying that day. When she later asked the security guard how he had come to open the door, which wasn't his usual work routine, his explanation was, "I've been working in this factory for 35 years. Hundreds of workers come in and out every day. But you're one of the few who greet me in the morning and say goodbye to me every night when leaving after work. Many treat me as if I'm invisible. Today, as you reported for work, like all other days, you greeted me in your simple manner, hello. But this evening after working hours, I curiously observed that I had not heard your bye, see you tomorrow. Hence, I decided to check around the factory. I look forward to your greetings every day because they remind me that I am someone. By not hearing your farewell today, I knew something had happened. That's why I was searching everywhere for you." One of the simplest, yet most powerful thing you can do is to tell someone that you see and appreciate them.
A dog was so faithful that the woman could leave her baby with it and go out to attend other matters. She always returned to find the child soundly asleep, with the dog faithfully watching over him. One day something tragic happened. The woman, as usual, left the baby in the hands of this faithful dog and went out shopping. When she returned, she discovered rather a nasty scene. There was a total mess. The baby's cot was dismantled, his nappies and clothes torn to shreds with bloodstains all over the bedroom where she left the child and the dog. Shocked, the woman wailed as she began looking for the baby. All of a sudden, she saw the faithful dog emerging from under the bed. It was covered with blood and licking its mouth as if it had just finished a delicious meal. The woman got angry and assumed that the dog had devoured her baby. Without much thought, she beat the dog with a wood to death. But as she continued searching for the remains of her child, she beheld another scene. Close to the bed was the baby, who, although lying bare floor, was safe and under the bed, where the body of a snake was torn to pieces in what had been a fierce battle between the snake and the dog, which was now dead. Then reality dawned on the woman, who now began to understand what took place in her absence. The dog fought to protect the baby from the ravenous snake. It was too late for her now to make amends because, in her impatience and anger, she had killed the faithful dog. How often have we misjudged people and torn them to shreds with harsh words and deeds before we have had time to evaluate the situation? This is called sin of presumption, presuming things our way without taking the trouble to find out exactly what the situation really is. A little forgiveness, some minor communication, can drastically reduce major lifelong mistakes. Don't think or react on what you think others are thinking. Take time to get the whole truth.
When I was a child, my mother liked to occasionally make breakfast foods for dinner. I distinctly remember one evening, after she had finished a long day of hard work, the kitchen was filled with the delicious aroma of golden fried eggs and fragrant sausages. However, there was one item that captured all my attention. A plate of toast that was slightly burnt. My mother placed a plate of dinner in front of my father, and I waited to see if anyone would notice. But my father just picked up the toast and ate it, smiling at my mother, then asked me how my day at school was. I don't remember what I replied that evening, but I vividly remember watching my father spread butter and jam on the toast and eat it bite by bite. When I got up from the table, I heard my mother apologizing to my father for the burnt toast, and I will never forget my father's response. "Dear, I like my toast a bit burnt." Later that night, when I went to say goodnight to my father, I asked him if he really liked his toast burnt. He hugged me and said, "Your mother worked very hard today, and we shouldn't overlook her efforts because of a small flaw. In this world, learning to accept each other's imperfections and choosing to embrace each other's differences is the most important secret to creating a healthy, growing, and lasting relationship."
A story is told about a young Thomas Edison who came home one day with a paper for his mother. He told her, My teacher told me to give this paper only to my mother. Thomas's mother read the note and her eyes filled with tears. Thomas asked his mother what the note said, and she read aloud, "Your son is a genius. This school is too small for him and doesn't have enough good teachers for training him. Please teach him yourself." And that's exactly what Thomas's mother did. She homeschooled her child with devotion and dedication. As the story goes, many years later, after Thomas Edison's mother passed on, and he was now one of the world's greatest inventors, he found a folded paper among other family items. He opened the very same paper that had been handed to him to give to his mother and read the following message: "Your son is mentally ill. We won't let him come to school anymore." At that moment, Edison realized what his mother had done for him so many years ago. He wrote in his diary, "Thomas Alva Edison was an addled child that by a hero mother became the genius of the century. The words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing." Let's take this message to heart and resolve to use our words for healing today. You might be a parent. What do you say to your children? You might be a teacher. What do you say to your student? Especially the ones that are not really performing well presently. May the words you use today change a life for the better.
An aged man lived in a nice cottage with a large garden in a town in England. He is seen busy looking after his flowers all the time. One day, a young painter went by this garden. He was deeply attracted by the beautiful flowers, imaging how happy he could be if he lived there. Then, suddenly, he found the old gardener was blind. The painter was very surprised to ask, "Why are you busy tending these flowers which you can't see?" The blind gardener smiled, answering, "I can tell you 4 reasons. First, I was a gardener when I was young, and I really like this job. Second, although I can't see these flowers, yet I can touch them. Third, I can smell the sweetness of them. As to the last one, that's you." "Me? But you don't know me.